I mean, specifically why we're doing lights and everything, but we're the world's shortest band. And a lot of the time when you're in the crowd and you're a short guy, the thing you can't see is the lead singer's face, and the thing you can see are the light fixtures. So we wanted to make sure that we give something to everyone.
They're an electric pop group from Southern California. They've shared stages with artists like YUNGBLUD, Coin, and the Driver Era. You may know them from their latest EP, What Day Is It? Please welcome Moontower to the podcast. How are you guys all doing today?
What's up? Thanks for having us.
And so just first question for each of you. You could go through and take turns with your own answers, but how did each of you kind of first get into music, or what were your first experiences with music like?
I had an amazing piano teacher when I was in elementary school named Jen Pardee. Got sick of that. Started on flute, which I stuck with until college, and then Tom and Jake and guitar and keys was the thing I liked doing the most for that development. So I feel like those are my instrumental derivations that have always been an interest.
Yeah, I'm similar to Dev. Like, I had a really amazing piano teacher when I was like 3 or 4. Her name is Miss Christine. I'm sure she's married now, so she's no longer Miss Christine. I'm very sure she's married, but I can't. And then my mom wouldn't let me start playing guitar until I was 9. I had to like really show her that I cared about music before she let me go into other instruments. But and then I didn't start really singing until Moontower started. So it's a kind of new thing for me.
I got a story. I was at my a sleepaway camp when I was in 3rd grade, and this kid was playing guitar on the porch, and I came up. This kid that was like in my bunk. I came up. I was like, how do you learn how to play guitar? That's so cool. Like I want to play guitar. And he said some wisdom way beyond his years. He said, well, you can learn how to play guitar, but if you really want to be in a band, you should learn how to play the bass. Because every band needs a bassist, and everyone knows how to play guitar already. Mm-hmm. So I asked for a bass for Christmas like 6 months later, and stuck with that kind of through and through. And then I started producing and everything when I was in middle school and high school, and then was lucky enough to meet these two rad cats when we were at the Thornton School of Music.
And so that's kind of the next thing I wanted to get into. How did you all meet, and like what kind of made you guys want to get together and form a band?
Yeah, we were working with the same artist. Our friend Thad, Tom and Deb were like producing for him, and I was writing some songs with him. And Tom and Deb like knew each other like from the first week of school. I got to USC a little later, just because I like deferred my admission. So I think we like had hung out a few times, and we like knew each other, or, like knew of each other, but we just kind of ended up in the studio like working on this kid's songs, and like I think we just hit it off. Like we love that, but I think like we just hit it off especially well just working together, and so we started like producing music like almost every day together at Tom and Deb's apartment, and I kind of like for all intents and purposes moved in there. I was living somewhere else, but like I was keeping my groceries there, and like we were staying up, especially like Deb and I, we were like staying up until like 3 or 4 in the morning, like working on tracks. Tom's early to bed, early to rise. He's up first. He's like he likes to work in the morning, and Deb's more of a night guy, and I kind of just like depending on I don't know. I'm always in the middle somewhere. So.
It was like this constant work that never felt like work.
Yeah,
and then before we knew it, there were enough songs we didn't want to give away, so we selfishly started the project.
Yeah.
And so starting the band, releasing all this music as a group, you were under the name Moontower. Was it that name from the start? Did you ever go by other names? And how'd you come up with that name?
Yeah, that was the name from the start. And from the get-go, we didn't necessarily know that it was a band. It was going to be kind of like a house party event where we were the musicians, and it was all about lights and production, and we were going to come and turn your backyard into the Moontower. And that's a little bit how we got started. and what the Moontower means, it's a reference to the Linklater film Dazed and Confused. And in this, it's a little bit of just like a stoner comedy, but I think it's all of our favorite movie or up there for all of us. And it's in the movie. There's all these kind of disparate plot lines. Of you've got the jocks and you've got the nerds and you've got the football kids and the cheerleaders, and they've all kind of got their all unrelated stories, and they all end up meeting up at this place at the end of the movie that they call the Moontower. And we kind of wanted our concerts or shows or whatever we were doing to feel the same way. So one of the original taglines was just radical inclusivity, where it's the opposite of the frat parties where people ask, "Who do you know here? Or, are you wearing the right color to come to Fireside Frost?" It's
But we still wanted it to feel like a party. Look,
yeah.
The tagline was radical inclusivity, but it was also a party at the Moontower.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of debate whether we were going to be called Moontower or the Moontower. We debated the for a while.
Oh, and then the all caps too.
And like, was it going to be caps or not all caps?
And so you kind of mentioned it a lot of times when you perform live, it's very visual. There are a lot of light features and whatnot. Do you find that kind of having this interactive performance makes it easier for fans to kind of connect with the music and with you guys while performing?
I think maybe like
we hope what people connect with is that just we're having a blast up there. So
yeah.
I hope that you are as well.
Mm-hmm. We try and do the stuff that makes us the most excited.
Exactly.
And what makes us the most excited is trying to give the most to the crowd. So I think, specifically why we're doing lights and everything, but we're the world's shortest band. And a lot of the time when you're in the crowd and you're a short guy, the thing you can't see is the lead singer's face, and the thing you can see are the light fixtures. So we wanted to make sure that we give something to everyone. So I think we're all a little bit ultra conscious of that. But also,
our entire life setup is for short people.
It makes us really excited to do stuff technologically that is kind of a physical representation of the music.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we when we did our headline shows back in 2019, we built like an actual house with like a moving garage door in this
projection map.
Yeah, projection mapping, and it was all in service of telling the story of the song in a physical representation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so whether it's through solo artists or bands, what kind of tips or advice would you give to people just starting out making music, just trying to get their name out there?
Just play live as much as you can. Like, obviously, you can't ignore the fact that today that like digital platforms are important. Like, you have to have we don't have to, but like it's very helpful if you are willing to have a digital presence. If you're willing to do TikTok and stuff, like sure, like
it's proven to help.
It's there, like
but it's just gonna help you play live more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But with all that caveat said, like I think what we really think is the most important thing is to get in front of actual people as much as you can. Play live. Take the time to meet the people that come see you, even if it's 5 people in a crowd. Like that's where it started for us. Like that's where it's going to start for everybody. Like play live as much as you can. Make an actual connection with the people that you play for, and actually try to make a community like that stands for something that connects people to each other. And like it's worked for a century. Like this is popular music when structured that way has like always worked, and even in the digital age, like some of the biggest art in the world is like 21 Pilots or YUNGBLUD. Like these people are still making huge careers off of just simply doing that. Like they weren't being sensational. Like they were just putting out good music and playing a lot of shows.
Yeah. And so you mentioned it, having digital presence definitely helps bands or artists grow, but a lot of that has also come with like downsides. Maybe artists are kind of making shorter songs, or they're focusing more on singles than albums. But for you guys, you clearly have a very like story-based music career, I guess, and a lot of your songs are telling a story rather than just trying to come out with a hit. What kind of motivated you to have meaning behind your songs, or like tell a story through them rather than just what sounds good?
Before even talking about the story, I feel like the important thing to mention with this whole sort of emerging thing of very quick, fast songs is like making good music takes time, and it's frustrating that it does. But it's like ideally you want your music to be evergreen, and it's the more that you try every option and give it time to just sizzle and look at it from a bunch of different perspectives and share with friends, share with family. It's like you want a song that like far outlive you. So it's like we're just no strangers to the fact that it takes time. So it's like the story, obviously.
Yeah,
T can talk about.
I mean, I think the stuff that makes all of us very, very excited about music oftentimes is the lore and the stuff that goes around it. I mean, amazing records are the thing that makes me personally the most excited, and a lot of times these records have songs that are in conversation with each other, and you don't get that with a single. You can't do that because there's nothing for it to have kind of cross communication with. There's no crosstalk. And what's even cooler is when you have stuff like Dijon put out his album, and then he did a whole album movie along with it, or Daft Punk when they did Interstellar 5555. And it's like you listen to One More Time, and that's awesome, but that's just an invitation to go listen to the album. And the album's just an invitation to go watch the anime movie. And then all of that is just kind of an invitation to get into this lore of some guys that are aliens from a different planet who've come on a mothership down to Earth to be able to change the sound and the timbre of pop.
And then you go to the live show, and it feels like you're seeing these aliens.
Yeah.
And you're seeing something that's
crazy.
That so much outlives the actual project of Daft Punk. I mean, Daft Punk they still haven't played live, and they won't probably again since 2007, 2008, and it's still referenced whenever people talk about good live shows, because they did what Dev was talking about. They took the time to build something that was maybe an inch wide and a mile deep, rather than a mile wide and an inch deep. So we have a lot of love for anyone that's trying to do whatever they're trying to do with music. I think what we're trying to do with music is much more of the lineage of concept records and of story-based albums, rather than the most rude way I could say it is chasing the TikTok sound with like the right silence before the chorus, and then the chorus comes in, and then it's about an X.
Yeah, I think like it's important mentioning that like I don't think that there's an artist out there, even artists that people may perceive to be trying to game the system or like play the TikTok game. Like I've never met an artist who like doesn't care about the music that they're making and who doesn't feel emotionally connected to the songs that they write. Even if it seems like they're being sensational, even if it seems really, really pop, like it's important to say that like, yeah, what matters is authenticity, and like it's totally fine. Like any way you want to be authentic. So we are in no way like shape or like we're not shaming anybody for like the way in which they choose to make or release their music, and like we're not even saying that we're doing it the right way. Like this is just the way that we like doing it. So and we do all the same stuff. Like we're on TikTok. Like we're definitely trying to like make sure that we come up with like new innovative ways to share music and our message, and like us as people. Like we just want to make sure that there, like for our sake, that like there's the TikTok, there's the music video, there's the live show, like but there's a rabbit hole that's so deep that you can fall down because like that makes us happy. So
it's the world building.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, to go back, ditto 100% what Jake said. And there is no Interstellar, there is no Alive, there is no Rabbit Hole without One More Time. Right. Like it starts with the pop song. It starts with the song everyone knows. And it's okay if that's as deep as you want to go with our music. If you like one of our songs and like vaguely know that we're a band called Moontower, but
that's totally
mainly
fine.
Just kind of know it's on the Feel Good Dinner playlist.
Yeah,
like that's sick. Yeah, love that too.
Yeah,
but it's such a shame when you want to learn more, you want to buy in more, and there's nothing there. So I think that's what we try and avoid. Yeah.
And so do you find fans that when they do want to buy in, when they do look for the lore behind these songs, do you find that kind of allows them to feel more connected, whether to the music or to the artists themselves?
Totally. I mean, I think like
They feel ownership over it, which is exactly what we
yeah.
feel ownership over our favorite projects. So
I think also too like that's how like when I said like oh create community is like when you said like what would be our advice. Like I think it's a way to create community. It's not the only way, but it's a way. Is to have like a very like specific world that you're building that everybody who's a part of that world like can very much very easily identify, and then when they turn to each other they're like okay well we're part of this together, and like and then that bleeds into like we see our fans like actually making friends, like genuine friendships with each other, and obviously like their friendships like maybe started because of Moontower, but the substance of their friendship probably has nothing to do with Moontower. But it's because like Moontower, I think, or I would like to think, like has such a strong identity and ethos that like it made people go like, oh well, if you connect with this music and this message in this band, then like we already have something in common that is more than just we like a song. Like maybe we'll actually get along as humans, and then I think we're seeing that actually start to happen, which is really beautiful.
And so you noted that even though good music takes time, you're willing to put in that time, willing to put in that effort.
Yeah.
Once you start coming up with a new song or a new idea, where does that kind of start? Lyric-wise, instrumental, where do you kind of start a new song or a new project?
There's just like not a formula for
every
it.
song has been wildly different.
Yeah, just kind of wherever it takes you, however it starts to form.
It's a lot of problem solving more than we think it is on paper, because it's like it's about finding the inspo and the spark that makes you want to keep exploring it, but also there's inevitably going to be stuff that comes up that's like, well, this isn't working, so what's the solution, or what is a solution?
Yeah.
And so, do you guys think you found kind of your own unique sound, or do you still kind of take a little bit of inspiration from other artists? And if you do that, how do you kind of put your own spin on it, your own style on it to make it sound your own?
I think we like to think that we have our own unique sounds, but it's also pretty pompous to say that we aren't super influenced by a lot of other people and a lot of our favorite music. I think that we're of that camp that believes that being an artist is sometimes stealing, in a respectful way. Imitation is the most sincere form of flattery, as they say. So like there's parts of the music where you can hear like Dev obviously had been listening to a lot of The Edge that day, and like that guitar tone is not the same thing. It's not the same notes. It's not the same distortion, but it's the idea was born from that. Or Jake, you can tell he'd been listening to Punisher, the Phoebe Bridgers record, a lot when we were writing certain songs, which is beautiful. And I think our unique sound is a derivation of all of our favorite personal influences. So you take a little bit of Dev's Coldplay and U2, and you take a little bit of Jake's Billy Joel and Phoebe Bridgers, and you take a little bit of my Daft Punk and Wallows, and you throw it in there. And I kind of chose arbitrary names, but then the soup tastes nice.
Yeah.
The soup tastes different than all of those things, all of its individual ingredients.
I think we're also, though, proud that each of the projects thus far has had its own different
like timbre,
sort of sonic world. Like the first EP we were listening to this German band a lot, so a lot of the sounds are just very dry, punchy, cassette-y.
We even got the mixer of a lot of that German band's music, named Bilderbuch, which translates in English to picture book, and it's a freaking amazing band. I'm sorry, can I curse?
Yeah, go ahead.
That everyone should listen to.
Second project, What Day Is It? Super emo. Tried to go for like size on that and sort of exploring space.
Yeah, that was the first one where we got like live drums, and we got kind of the more expensive studio sounds, less of the cassette-y kind of punching you in the face thing.
The new project is, I feel like, the most eclectic but really cool balance of a bunch of stuff that we're excited for everybody to hear.
Yeah, I'm so excited. The record is on its way. It's
Is there any
it's in the
given
mouth
date
of
for that yet,
parody.
or is it still in the works?
No, it's like all but done.
It's mixed.
It's done to the point where like we're just like creating a release plan for it. So
What's frustrating and is another just reality of everything is that the music making process takes a long time, and then the music releasing process and the meetings and the handshakes and the coffees and the interpersonal relationships and all that has its own life too. And sometimes it's easy to forget that releasing a song isn't as easy as pushing a button. And I think there is a lot of music marketing that's made so that the consumer feels as though the artist wrote a song on Wednesday and decided to release it on Friday.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a misperception that songs aren't done. Like it is. I think that the radio of 2024 is probably being mastered right now.
right.
Yeah. And so, you guys have played, whether as an opener or just along with a lot of giant artists or bands. When a lot of bands are coming up now, they kind of dream about them being the headliner, them playing their own shows. What do you think people should kind of become more accepting of, like being an opener and, like you said, just performing live whenever you can, getting your name out there?
I think that people from our experience with the people that we know, like I think people are really accepting and excited about being openers, like because everybody kind of understands like that's how it starts. Like very few people are lucky enough to like have a song that hits so well or like so wide that like you do like Olivia Rodrigo or something and like you just. But even Olivia Rodrigo, like or whatever, like every artist, no artist blows up overnight. Like Tom just said, and so much of the music industry is made to seem like to make it seem like that. But I wasn't in the band when this happened, but my old band, like Billie Eilish, opened up for my old band when she was like 15. Like everybody knows, like this is where that stuff starts, and I think that is what people want. Like what we're all trying to do is figure out like how can we get on opening tours, like how can we get our name out there. So, but of course, like it'll be amazing, one day when Moontower can start really focusing on headline tours, because that's when we get to do the cool stuff that we love to do, with like building worlds and having great crazy stage setups and making our shows into stories and experiences.
And so when you're kind of backstage with these artists that you're opening up for, how has that kind of helped you guys learn about the industry or grow as a band?
I think at least something that was a fun experience for the people that we've gotten to tour with in the past is that you learn that everyone is just the same. All the individual members of all these bands are just the same type of nerds, and they're all the exact same type of people. It's all the type of people that get that like to bro out over the fact that the B string always goes out of tune before the rest of them, or like they really like the ratio of a compressor and having the threshold set right, or nerding out about wireless frequencies and whether or not you're able to get your RF going inside of this room in Milwaukee because the rave is notoriously bad. It's that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So no matter what the I think public facing image of a group is, it's generally comprised of people cut from the same cloth, which is fun. It's fun. It's a subculture. Also, you learn that it's a absolutely insurmountably tiny world, and everyone there's 400 people on tour at any given point in time. Like it's crazy small, and I'm talking like crew, everyone.
Yeah.
It's so everyone knows everyone.
Yeah.
And so, do you guys? Maybe the answers are different for each of you, but if Moontower could kind of get the chance to make a song or a project, an EP with any artist or any band in the world, who would it be?
Well, I don't know. I think there's producers that we definitely want to work with.
I would love to work with Brian Eno and or Rick Rubin in my lifetime.
I think that's all three of us too.
Yeah, that'd be sick. Gotta get on that though.
Yeah, they're getting up there.
They're getting old.
That's tough.
don't even know how much production recruiting it does anymore.
Has he done anything since like '88?
He did Destruction, but that's the last.
I mean, yeah, like
I think like actually that's like the last thing I know that he actually like produced. Yeah. I don't know. Like I don't think we like to work with our friends. Like we like to work with like people. Like they're like we'll like write and produce and like we'll make songs with anybody. But like when it comes to like when we actually get in the album process and we actually like start thinking like we're gonna make a project now, like the world gets a little bit smaller. So like we tend to favor working with like one or two people on a record rather than like being like, okay, well we're just gonna like work with as many people as we can.
Yeah.
Because like in that world building sense, like you don't need a small team. You can do, there's no rules. But for us we found it's easier to like make a concept record when like everybody when it's a small tight group of people all working towards the same goal. But like I mean obviously like I don't know, like it would be super sick to like do a collab record and like all that stuff, but yeah, I don't know, it's just like it's not our focus, I guess.
And so you've been very transparent about like producers who you work with or would want to work with, mixers, engineers. A lot of artists or releases now kind of have the guise of like looking like it was just this artist and like they're the only one credited, but some still like give credit where credit is due, like hey, we have a team of producers, writers, engineers, mixers. What do you think that's like good that producers and engineers are now kind of getting more eyes on them and more eyes on their work, and how do you think that'll help them grow to like make music of their own?
I think it's just like the more transparency there is, so that the public or the public at large understand what actually goes into making a song. Like I think the more, or hope the more people will value music itself, especially like we're running into a real problem in music that like as music becomes cheaper and cheaper, like literally paying subscription, a subscription fee to Spotify. Now a lot of times people are getting their music subscriptions free, like through their internet service or their cell phone service, right? So the cost of music is going down, and it doesn't look like it's going to reverse anytime soon. Like unless like, which is stupid because if Netflix can increase the price of their subscription, like why can't Spotify? But whatever, that could be a whole other podcast. But I think that in our opinion is that like when you're transparent with people about the actual sweat equity and time and thought that goes into something, like people value that more. So I appreciate that Spotify is doing things like making the credits available on songs and albums and things like that. And I think the people who are making that music absolutely deserve that recognition, and they deserve more recognition than is even being given. But it's a great place to start.
It's also only, I feel like, a positive feedback loop.
Right.
Let's say some artist looks up the song credits for a really popular song, and they're like, "Oh, I want to work with this person," and then they make a bomb-ass record, and then that bomb-ass record inspires another artist to go work off. It's like there's no,
And so you guys have clearly you're all clearly passionate about being a live band, bringing an experience or a story to when playing live, rather than just having people physically see you on stage. Is there kind of a dream venue that you guys would want to perform at or play for your music?
Slane Castle for me.
Yeah, I mean,
they still do that. I don't think they still do Slane, theoretically.
That's like 50,000.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I think that we would love to hit the stereotypical ones like the MSGs and the Red Rocks and the Greek Theater out here in LA. Personally, I really want to. I already referenced this once, kind of. I want to play the Rave in Milwaukee.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I'd like to play the Rave in Milwaukee.
Why?
Because it has Mac Miller's signature on the wall. Inside of that haunted pool.
We learn something new every day.
There's a haunted pool in this venue called the Rave in Milwaukee. In Milwaukee, it's called the Rave, and it's like 5 different rooms. It's like if you can sell out 5,000 tickets, there's a room for you at the Rave. If you can sell 100 tickets, there's a room for you at the Rave.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's prepared for bands or crowds of any size.
It's prepared for us to progress. We'll start there at 100 and we'll get to 5,000.
radical inclusivity at the rave.
Yeah.
All bands of all sizes.
I mean, I think our dream is like we love playing live music and we're totally fine to play to 5 people. We also have loved playing to 5,000 people. And I think we just want to play live music for as many people possible. We totally see ourselves ending up in stadiums one day, but we're also like totally fine with whatever much time it takes to get there.
And so, and ending up in stadiums, what kind of level do you see your guys getting to? What level do you want to reach? Is it kind of like, oh, we want to keep doing this to become a giant name, or like just to the point where we can support ourselves with this solely this?
I mean, I think if you can support yourself, like you've won. So I think that's definitely something that we would be content with. It's not like, oh, if we don't get to stadiums, like we're not happy. But like when we see a band like Coldplay or the Killers or the Strokes, like a band that's put out a significant number of albums and like stayed together, and like the members, I'm sure, we don't know them, their interpersonal relationships, but just being able to have a group of people that can take decades and make music together and put out albums together
and stick together.
That's the goal. And like if you do it well, then sometimes you get to play Wembley. Or if you do it well, sometimes you only get to play 1,000-cap venues around the world, and that's still dope too. Like
And so
Just
it's
keep
kind of more about keeping this community almost together, like keeping you three as the band and staying as like a band like these Coldplay, 21 Pilots bands that kind of try to keep the same members all the time, and not like a Black Eyed Peas where it's like new album, new group.
Right.
And
That's the only reason why we don't want to be the Black Eyed Peas. So everything else.
Yeah, man.
Actually, the E&D is such a good record.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm Team Elefunk.
Elefunk's fantastic. Monkey Business is fantastic. The new record's not fantastic. But that's just in a subjective opinion.
I think we do got to wrap it up. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, all right. Well, thank you guys for coming on. It's been great. I think we had some great conversations, and that's basically all I wanted to get through. So I'm glad we got to fit it all in. And where can people find you online, social medias, websites, anything you have?
Everywhere is at This Is Moontower. Even our website is thisismoontower.com. So we have a great Discord. This is kind of where like that community I think builds most in the digital sphere. The Discord is called Take Care Incorporated, and it's a wonderful space where people are really like making genuine friendships and like doing like freaking like meditations and book clubs and game nights and movie nights, and people are just getting to know each other. It's really beautiful. So
Also, if you want to edit our Wikipedia, it's at Moontower /band.
Yep, you can edit our Wikipedia should you want.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. Again, I'll leave links to that down below. And good luck with this upcoming record and the release plan.
Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Ryan.
Much love.
Yeah.